Hey, it's Caitlin from the Social Media Club. I'm here at South by Southwest in the IBM Lounge, here to talk to two of Formula One's biggest fans in Austin, the Olsens. So, I'm excited to share with you their story of how they are acting as a liaison between Formula One and Austin. Can you tell me a little bit about how you guys got involved in the sport, first off?
It was quite a surprise on May 25th, 2010. I woke up, my friend gave me a call. He said, "You're never going to believe this. Formula One's returning to America, and it's coming back to Austin." And I mean, I've been a fan for 12 years. It's been a passion of mine, something I've always wanted to get involved with somehow, but never did I think it would be coming back to my hometown. So I called Kerri immediately after that and told her, "You're never going to believe this. This is a dream come true. This is like getting the Super Bowl here." And I just shared my enthusiasm. She said, "Look, stop. Are you just going to be a fan? Are you just going to, spend your money and go there and just be a spectator? Are you going to get involved, do something, share your passion, share your knowledge, share your enthusiasm for technology and just all of the positive things that can happen to America and how we can benefit from this?" And that's what we did. So we decided that moment we're going to do something, and within hours we had our blog up, and we really tried to get just the news together and kind of compile it. But we embraced social media early on, and we went with it. It was a very, very busy 48 hours, but it was really, really amazing how that happened, now that I look back on it.
Now you compare it to the Super Bowl coming to town. Can you just explain to viewers who might not be a Formula One fan just what a big deal this is? Because I know, because I'm a fan, but it hasn't been in the States for quite a few years, and it's back.
Yeah, since 2007, which it was held in Indianapolis, which is the home of the Indianapolis 500, and they never really embraced it and really marketed it and really got it out there. But we have an opportunity now with the dedicated facility to host not just Formula One, but really an entire philosophy of the motorsports industry, which Formula One is really the pinnacle of. So we're bringing basically the Super Bowl to Austin for once a year, every 10 years. Once a year for the next 10 years, and we're talking, 200 million invested in the economy, countless jobs, and the exposure. I mean, Formula One is watched by anywhere from 400 to 600 million people each race, and I mean, there's 350 million people that watch the Super Bowl. So all of the free marketing, just by the name Austin included, the exposure of to the American audience and to the worldwide audience of what this is, and the showcasing our city, and we have an opportunity to embrace something it's unprecedented. I mean, the Super Bowl is one time you see the city, you see it happen, it's over. This is getting that once a year, and that's just so invaluable to the city and to where we see as young professionals and see the future of the American job market and everything. We see that it's all up from here. Austin is now the #1 destination for creative professionals. Apple's building a 3,600 staff facility here now. We've got high-tech industry. It's all coming here. This is the new energy hub of the country.
Now, Kerri, can you tell me a little bit about your experience with this? Because when we were talking earlier, you weren't as much of a fan as he was, but you jumped right on board.
Right. I like to say, we're Formula One fans, but we're Austin fans first. And when he called and told me this was coming, I had known for years how big Formula One is, but I just was never a racing fan. Hadn't even watched a race, honestly. And just knowing that Austin will embrace this and that it's such a forward-thinking city, and if you have an idea and you run with it and you put the work in, you can really make it whatever you want to here. So that's why I asked him. I was like, "Well, do you just want to, attend these things, or do you want to do something?" And he was like, "What do you mean?" I said, "I don't know, but there's something here. Let's just start a blog." And that's how we started. And it's cool because in our dynamic, he's an F1 fan, so he can relate to the gearheads and people that can, start throwing out stats and stuff. And I'm answering the very basic questions. And a lot of people in town have those basic questions, like, okay, what is Formula One and what does it mean for it to come here? So I think we balance each other out, and people can relate to one of us. And it's so funny, like once I start talking to people and teach them just a few little nuggets of information, they feel so enlightened, and they're like, wow, now I can go and I can tell my friends about this, and then it just kind of like spreads like that. So I just think we're in a really good spot, and we're happy to be up here spreading the word about it.
That's awesome. So who blogs more between the two of you?
We share, I don't know, I guess if you went back and looked, we could probably have a little war between who writes more, but we realize that like we're not 24/7 bloggers. We don't just find a story and just write about it. We try to bring informative news. We don't try to drown out, and we don't just try to flood. So we do have to filter some things, but there's a distinct voice that we're looking for, which is how to engage an audience that it's not too much information. You go to even if you're kind of into football, if you go to ESPN.com, it's pretty overwhelming. Yeah. And that's something even within the Formula One industry, the Formula One websites, they're for dedicated fans. And that's not the role we want to play. We're not trying to go for that. So if we can, if we bring that voice through in our blog, which is what we try to do, I think it comes through. And I think people really enjoy that. We know the fans, we know people that are readers, so we know we see that they enjoy our perspective on certain things. So I don't know who's the bigger writer in that sense. I mean, she has a background in English, but I do play that role of kind of the more technical. If there's something really important that needs to be discussed, I'll talk about that. That bring my expertise in.
Like, for example, he's a graduate student. He's studying architecture. So while they're building this facility, and they're pushing out these pictures, it's cool to see the buildings come alive, but Kevin's like, oh wait, they're doing these certain type of beams and structures, I know what that is, and he can write like a whole technical analysis on what stage they are actually at in the construction that no one else is doing. And so it's like that little background information just proves to be really helpful to give people more of an understanding, because once they understand it better, they feel more connected. That's what we think.
And you guys recently flew over the track, is that correct?
No, that was
a year ago. It was this time last year.
Okay.
That was kind of a crazy thing. It was just a wild idea. It was like, oh God, I really want to just see what it looks like from above. And then it was like, well, that may not be that difficult to put together. So we have a friend who's a pilot, and we talked to him. We're like, hey, we want to do this. And he's like, well, yeah, I mean, I'd like to go up too, so let's do it. So we got our camera, and we went up there and did it. And it's an amazingly, the project on scale is just massive. So when you're up there, we're probably 3,000 feet up, and you're looking down, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is huge. Because the Austin airport's just 2 miles that way, and that's a big facility. And then you look at this, and I don't know what they are relative size, but anyway, it's huge. So it was a pretty amazing thing to do, and that's what we can do as a lightweight, as a media company that has, uses lightweight technology and really innovative ways. I think that's something we try to do. That's something that I'm really passionate about here at South by Southwest, learning more about how technology can be used in new and interesting ways. It's kind of amazing to break those boundaries.
I love that you guys are so excited and passionate about this. And I love that you're doing the stuff nobody else is doing, like getting that plane out there. Because Formula One has a shroud of mystery sometimes, and you are making it accessible.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about how the Austin community is reacting to Formula One.
I think finally, okay, let me back up a little bit. Like, now that our race is finalized, something that we're still having to overcome is people are like, oh, is that happening? It's like, yes, it's happening. November 18th, we're counting down the days. But once we get over that hump, everyone's just really interested. And what I like to do is relate it to events that are already here that they can relate to. So I'm like, take South by Southwest and multiply it by about 4 or 5, and you're going to have that many more people here. And it's gonna, really take over our city, and so people can relate to that. Okay. But another way we really try to get people into what we're doing is we do downtown watch parties. And so we just find a venue downtown that we really like, and we open it up at like 1 o'clock on a Sunday, and people can come out and watch the races with us. And it's cool because it's a social experiment, right? Because you can come out and you can watch the race, and if you just want to watch the race, you can go sit up close to the TV and not have to talk to anyone. But the people who are still learning about Formula One and who haven't really seen a race, they can ask questions like, why are they running on those tires? Oh, what do all these tires mean? And it's a learning environment, but it doesn't feel like you're going and you're being lectured. So I think people really enjoy that.
So you're making it fun again.
Exactly. Yeah, making it fun and making it accessible.
Cool. And you guys your media company recently won an award from the Statesman Journal. Who wants to field that one?
Yeah. I think Kerri should. Yeah.
Okay.
That was a shock, and I'm still like digesting that. But every year for the past 4 years, the Austin American-Statesman, which is Austin's largest newspaper, they go out there and they look in the field and see who's really using social media in an innovative way. And so I think 4 years ago, the first winner was Gowalla, and we all know what happened to them. If you don't, Facebook bought them out, right?
I believe they did.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Should have checked that before I threw it out there. And then I forgot who the second year winner, but they named 10 winners each year, and then they name an overall winner. And so there were incredible nominees this year from Ballet Austin, which is one who I follow personally because they have great community outreach programs to get people really involved with their community school. And so anyway, there were we were one of the 10 winners, and then we won the overall award. So it was just, it's funny because
the Pinterest story.
Pinterest. So I look over after we won the award, and Kevin's laughing under his breath. I'm like, what's so funny? He's like, Pinterest. He's like, do you know how many times I've woken up it's been late at night and you've been up pinning at 2 or 3 in the morning, and I've been like, what are you doing? You're wasting your time. And I'm like, no, trust me, Pinterest is the next big thing. And when they were announcing us as the winner, they were like, they're on Facebook, they're on Twitter, they're on YouTube, but then they said they were on Pinterest, and we were all like, how are they using Pinterest? And they got on there, and what I've done is I've created a board for each of the 20 races around the world.
Wow.
And so you have a track map, you have pictures of wherever that city, so you have, historical destinations and pictures of Melbourne and everything, so you can get a feel for what the city is like where the Formula One race is held. And instead of going to, 20 different websites to figure out what this looks like, you can just go to one spot. And so, yeah, Pinterest.
Can you give us your URL on Pinterest?
Sure, it's pinterest.com/Austin Grand Prix.
That's exciting.
That's pretty much all our URLs. Twitter.com/Austin Grand Prix. But our website is the Austin Grand Prix. Yeah.
Make it distinctive.
The.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys very much for being here today. I'm excited for Austin. I'm excited for you guys and for Formula One. And thanks for being here, and enjoy South by Southwest.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks. Awesome.
Thanks very much.